Sure, yeah. My name's Will Carsola. Most notable projects is probably my show Mr. Pickles on Adult Swim, and the spin-off show we made, Momma Named Me Sheriff.
And okay, so tell me about the artwork we have here in the show tonight and how you made these pieces.
So yeah, my intent was to recreate my own psychedelic monster artwork that I've been making a lot recently. And so I tried to recreate that with words in Midjourney, and this is the outcome after a lot of failures.
Okay, so what is Midjourney?
Midjourney is a program, it's on Discord. You type in a bunch of commands, words, descriptors, and it kicks out 4 images, and then you make variations from there, make changes. Like these probably took me hours to days to kind of get to a point where I actually liked what it was creating. And from that point, I just kept making little tiny tweaks. And so there's 99 of these beasts from beyond total. Yeah.
So Midjourney is like this AI software prompt that generates images based on the text you type into it. And what kind of prompts were you feeding Midjourney to make these ones that we're seeing in the show?
So I can't remember all of the text that I used for these, but I'm sure the word beast was in there. Collection's called Beasts from Beyond. I know I had bat wings in there. So I think there's some wings in there, but not all of them have bat wings. That one kind of does. Psychedelic, horror.
If you were gonna type a prompt into Midjourney right now, what would you type?
To get here?
Yeah. If you were gonna make another one for the show,
I would say a psychedelic-looking demon with bat wings and multiple eyes, a skull face, and weird tentacles growing out of its body and head with horns, floats in a heavenly group of clouds in hell.
Do you ever give your Midjourney prompts any stylistic direction, or do you kind of let the AI make that decision?
I don't ever say, like, make it look like this artist or that. Like, that kind of gets into a weird territory for me. Like, and I've tried that, like, just for fun, like putting in, make it look like Van Gogh, but then it just looks like Van Gogh. My intent is really to make it look like my art as much as I can. So no.
You let it go figure out its own stylistic aesthetics.
I try a bunch of words that make sense to me and then see what makes sense to the AI, and then usually it looks terrible. And then I kind of make little tweaks. I add to it little by little until, it gets to a point to where it looks like this, which was one of the earlier Beasts from Beyond. And from that point, I tweak the aspect ratio, I lose the rainbows, I change the colors.
Yeah.
I add more of the characters and monsters and beasts. And
so when we're talking about the refinement process of working with a tool like Midjourney, what goes into that? What are these versions, and what are you doing to create different versions?
Well, I'm just making the tiniest little tweaks. Sometimes I use the same keyword from, say, that piece, and to get this one, there's just one word that's different. Sometimes it's 20 words that are different. Sometimes it's just the order of where the word is in the paragraph. So it's kind of just this weird experimental process. And at a certain point, it's strange. The words can kind of become paintbrushes in a strange way. And I didn't really necessarily see it as art at first, but then once it kind of got to that point where I'm essentially using words like paintbrushes, it started to become art, a new type of art. It was very strange.
It's like a mediated poetry.
Right, yeah.
Are you ever doing like Are you ever feeling that you got a close hit, but you just need to generate different variations? How far down do you go on like hitting different variations on it?
I go very far. I feel like sometimes you have to make 100 of these to get one that's good.
Yeah.
In this kind of style, I don't know how many I made, but I would say definitely over 1,000. I feel like I had about 175 that were good, and I cut that down to 99, but thousands probably just in this style alone.
Wow.
To kind of get some that are good, in my opinion.
You got the most out of that Midjourney subscription for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to ask you the big question. As an artist, what are your feelings about AI generating artwork?
Well, like I said, I wasn't so sure about it at first, but I didn't want to knock something until I figured out what it really was. So I decided to try it out, and what I found was that, yes, it's easy to just type in some words and get some instant results, but for me, those quick results weren't very good. So it took a lot of time. It does take creativity to get it to look like this. So in a weird way, it does become art. And like I said, words can become paintbrushes at a certain point. It's new territory. It's hard to really compare it to another area. But ultimately, I think it's a very interesting tool and a useful tool. Whether, I'm using these as references for other art that I will do more in my hand-drawn style, or if I just go down the rabbit hole and create some of these crazy beasts that are art in their own way. Either way, it's interesting, it's a tool, and it's allowing me to find a new creative path, and
So for you,
fun.
It's one more tool in the artist toolkit.
Yeah. And like even with my show, Mr. Pickles, like you're showing it on one of those walls over there, but I typed in a lot of the storylines for my show that I never got to tell, that never made it into an episode, and now I'm able to kind of see a visual for some of those ideas that never made it. And that's kind of cool too.
That's it.
That's been fun to see.
So you would say it's more of a tool than art on its own?
I think so. Yeah. But I think that there's no one way to pin it down yet. And this seems very early on in the technology, and a month from now we'll be able to do a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, I'm just having fun with it.
Is Midjourney the only one you've played around with, or have you played around, do you have a favorite?
I'm about to start DALL-E, but I didn't want to mess with it until, we were finished with this show.
Cool. Very cool. And next
but I'm
gen
excited.
Midjourney as well.
Yeah.
And whatever other ones are out there.
Yep.
Very cool. And then I just wanted to ask you too, what your experience has been like in art and NFTs.
Art and NFTs? It's been great. This last year or so, making a lot of NFTs, it's been really nice to connect with so many people in the community. And I would say that that's the best thing about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
That was good.